For a long time, drone pilots like us have been frustrated. DJI chose not to release the SDK for many of their newer consumer drones, including the Mavic 3 Pro. This meant no third-party flight planning apps like Dronelink, no custom mission control, no automation. For a lot of us who relied on tools like Dronelink for precise mapping, cinematic flights, or just creative control, it was a big letdown. But there's good news. Dronelink is just about to drop a game-changing feature that is currently in beta. You can now export any mission plan as a KMZ file that can be imported directly into the DJI Fly app and executed using DJI's Waypoint feature. This means your carefully planned missions can finally fly again, even on drones like the Mavic 3 Pro. And for people like me, that gives us a real opportunity to skip buying a backup Mavic 3 Enterprise and instead use the Mavic 3 Pro I already have. There are a couple of things you should know. First, you need a Hobbyist Elite or higher tier Dronelink subscription for this to work. And second, yes, there are a few hoops to jump through, but it works. So how do you do it? First, plan your mission in the usual way. Here I've set up a simple mapping mission at the pond outside my house for use in this demo. Once you have that, you need to convert the mission to DJI Waypoints. And to do that, we click on the three dots next to the mission name and click Convert and then select DJI Waypoints. A new mission will be created, and that takes the original mission and turns it into a set of waypoints. By default, the waypoints will be spaced 25 feet apart. But for our needs, that's a bit much. So we're going to change that to 75 feet to get rid of many of the unnecessary waypoints. This is important if you're using a lower powered controller such as the DJI RC, which seems to not like missions that have a lot of waypoints. Now that we've done that, we click Finish Conversion and then the new plan will be created. I should note that waypoint plans cannot handle all of the complex things that Dronelink normally handles for you, such as camera setup, but that's a limitation of the DJI Waypoint setup. If I go out to the list of missions, you can see we now have a copy of the original plan with the same name, but ending in -DJI Waypoints. Now let's go into that new plan, and once again we select the three dots and select Export. Previously, when you did this, it saved a Dronelink file that could be used for backup or sharing. But now we have two options when we do this, and one of them is DJI. This is the option we're going to select. There is a drop down for the type of drone. If you have an enterprise drone, then you should select whichever drone you have. However, for consumer drones like the Mavic 3 Pro or the Air 3, you should select the first option, which is DJI Fly or consumer models. It's important that you select the correct option here, because if you select the wrong option, you may crash your controller when you run this job. Select that and then press the export button and save it in a location you'll be able to find later. Now, if you navigate to that folder, you'll see you have a new file that has a type of .kmz. Now we need to create a home for this in the DJI Fly app. To do that, we start the DJI Fly app. In this case, I'm using the DJI RC Pro from my Mavic 3 Pro. Now for this part, you don't actually need the drone connected, so just fire it up and get through to the camera view area after selecting your drone. Access the waypoint function by clicking the squiggly line on the left-hand side, which will cause it to turn yellow. Then switch to the map view. If you have the drone connected, then it should zoom into your location, or you can just pinch and zoom to get to the area you'll be flying. To be honest, I'm not 100% certain this bit's necessary, but it's how I've always done it. Once you're there, we will create a little dummy mission by clicking on a few points. Click on the little note icon and press save. You can give it a name here if you like. Now we're going to jump back over to the PC and connect the controller to the PC with a cable. I'm on a Mac, so I use a program called Android File Transfer, but there are others, so that will depend on your system. Another way to do this is to copy the KMZ file onto a micro SD card and insert that into the controller and then do everything on the controller. but I personally prefer using a PC. Now navigate to the folder on the controller, which is under Android, Data, DJI Go V5, File, and then Waypoint. And there will be a folder with a long string of letters and numbers, and in that folder will be a KMZ file of the same name. If you have lots of these because you created many missions, then you're going to have to find the dummy one you just created, which you can do by looking in the folders for anything created with today's date and time. Copy that file over to your PC. We don't actually need the file, just the name, but this will make getting the name easier. Now copy the file name into the clipboard, delete the file, and then rename the KMZ file you downloaded from Dronelink to this strange name. Now copy that file back into the controller, overwriting the dummy file you created. Now you're ready to connect your drone and fly the mission. And when you open the mission, you'll see that you have all the waypoints that you created in Dronelink showing up in the mission plan. For mapping, I made a few changes to the first waypoint to point the camera straight down. I also switched to JPEG only and changed the camera mode to 2-second intervals. We will trigger the camera manually once the drone reaches the first waypoint. Now just start the mission in the usual way. It will take off, fly to the first waypoint, and start flying the path you created. Unfortunately, it's not as good as having the full Dronelink system. As an example, for mapping, it will set up flight lines to correctly handle the side overlap, but forward overlap is based on speed and capture time. However, I am told that they will include some additional instructions when you export in future versions, which should help keep things easy to use. So it's not perfect and it does take some extra steps, and it's not a total replacement for a Mavic 3 Enterprise since DJI chose not to give the M3 Pro an RTK option. Also, I don't believe this is supported by DJI, so use it at your own risk. But it's there, and we can thank the Dronelink team for continuing to improve the product and respond to requests for features, because I know this has been asked for quite a few times. Well, that's it for another video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.